Welcome back to Director's Choice. Today we're going to be diving into a Frozen 2 theory: is Elsa immortal? We'll start with a little background on Frozen itself and Elsa and what the theory is, but for now, let's dive in. Frozen 1 was a big hit in 2013. The story revolves around two sisters, Anna and Elsa. Elsa having developed magical powers when she was a child. Elsa and Anna were very close as children, running around, doing weird children things, just chasing each other, throwing magic at each other, that kind of stuff. The general normal childhood that we can all relate to. Being in a giant castle, being princesses, that kind of thing. One day the horseplay gets a little bit too rough and Elsa manages to ding Anna with a little bit of an ice spray to her head. The family gets this under control by going to some trolls in the woods, which is obviously the first protocol for such a predicament. And afterwards decide to isolate the sisters and try to help Anna and Elsa best as they can. But before too long, both parents perish in a seaward voyage, leaving Anna and Elsa to grow up a little bit on their own. The story takes place a bit further when the coronation happens, when Elsa is supposed to become queen. She does, and then has a bit of an emotional freakout, runs off into the woods to try and be alone, not knowing that she has set eternal winter onto the people of Arendelle. To reverse this eternal winter, Anna, with the help of her friend Kristoff and his friend Sven, and their vague friend Olaf, try to get through to Elsa to see what they can do to help the situation. In the end, we find a surprise villain in Hans and a surprise hero in Elsa. All culminating with true love being the one that fixes everything, in a nice Disney message that in this time doesn't have a man and a woman falling in love, but love between two sisters. In Frozen 2, we have a continuation of Elsa's story, how she starts to believe in herself a lot more, how her magic is growing and becoming a lot more powerful. We find some other areas that she's interested in. And a quick spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Frozen 2, probably now's a good time to do it. But in the story of Frozen 2, we find out that there are other spirits around the area. There is a fire reptile, a invisible wind, a water horse, and some earth giants.
Quick question, is the whole putting us in mortal danger gonna be a regular thing?
All of these are wreaking havoc on Arendelle, and it's up to Elsa and the team to try and bring them down, until it becomes clear that it is Elsa who needs to be in control of everything. But how is she supposed to take on the four powerful elements? She's only an ice wizard of sorts. But in a dramatic twist of fate, she is reborn again with incredible power, even more than what she had before. And it turns out that she is also one of these elements. In fact, she is the strongest element, capable of taming the other four, together making 5 elements and having them in balance, under control of Elsa. She does though abdicate the throne so that she can better take care of the forest and the world, and not have to be a queen, as that would probably get in the way of using her ice to save the world and whatnot. So is this enough to say that Elsa is immortal? Well, let's look at what she can do. We know from Frozen 1 that she can create life, which is a god move to begin with. Olaf has sentience and has his own unique personality created by Elsa. Elsa also created the ice monster named Marshmallow, which was a little less of a popular choice, but still an example of her being able to create sentient life. This skill develops massively in Frozen 2, and she's able to create a range of snow people at her disposal. But what it's really all about is how much we understand of her being one of these new elements. We know from the films that the other 4 elements are also immortal spirits. So why wouldn't Elsa also be one? She is a little bit of a special case in that she's not one of those main 4 elements, but a 5th one that has been created to bring harmony to the forest. We do get a little more backstory of Elsa's beginning in Frozen 2, and we know that she was born with magical ice powers, but we also know the reason why this happened. Elsa's parents, by uniting the North and Arendelle respectively, had been gifted Elsa, a daughter with magical skills. And we find out later that she is the 5th spirit, not just gifted with magical skills, but destined to be a spirit herself.
Wow, Papa, that was epic!
I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of a lot of pressure to put on someone. After her transformation, she dons the white clothing much like Gandalf, increasing her power level and alluding to her transformation from mortal to immortal as she has now become a spirit. Being an immortal spirit would really help her balance the other 4 already immortal spirits, and for her to be mortal wouldn't quite be the most effective solution. It is possible that she is only being inhabited by the immortal spirit, and once Elsa dies, the spirit will go on to find the next person, much like the Green Lantern ring. But it is most logical that she is now a spirit herself, which is possibly why she abdicated the throne to Anna. She would have made a great queen, but with her power and that responsibility, it made sense for her to watch over the other immortal spirits to make sure everything stays in balance. And another important thing to remember is what happens in the Enchanted Forest. Elsa, Anna, and their friends encountered 2 groups who've been trapped there for decades, and who haven't aged at all.
Where are we?
How did you get in the forest?
The mist parted for us.
Impossible.
Where did you learn magic?
These soldiers are not influenced by magic themselves. None of them are able to produce any elemental powers, but they are in tune with the magical forces of air, earth, water, and fire that reside in the forest. This gives credence to the idea that being around an elemental spirit is enough to give you a magical prolonged life. And Elsa, being an actual spirit now, most definitely has that immortality as well. And it's also another reason why Elsa would be abdicating the throne. Realizing that she is an immortal spirit, and when other people have a lot of access and influence into spirit magic like these soldiers, they are granted some form of long life or perhaps immortality as well. The aging process does slow down when you're around these spirits, which would be a good reason for Elsa to abdicate her throne, as her elemental spirit power might influence the lives of the citizens of Arendelle, which would not be a great thing to do. It might also be the case that it is the forest itself that keeps things immortal. The shroud that was layered over it kept the soldiers immortal and the spirits inside, but was it the spirit force or the forest that does this? In any case, we know that Elsa has come back as a spirit form, the bridge between the 2 peoples. Elsa being one side on the spirit bridge, Anna being the other side on the living bridge. Elsa's own powers are, as we learn by the end of the film, even greater than she realized. While she's still primarily able to harness icy powers to do everything from fend off the magical wind forces of the forest to ride a frozen horse spirit across a pitch black sea, Elsa comes to accept that she is this bridge for all the other spirits. On the surface, it's all quite compelling, in part because Elsa is much more captivating lead character than her goofy sister Anna. But the mythological elements here are much less specific than in other recent Disney and Pixar animated efforts, such as Moana and Brave. Elsa's pursuit of her mysterious voice is parallel to the journeys of both the heroines in those films. Both Moana and Brave benefited from not just having strong female leads, but an equally strong sense of location. While Frozen 2 takes place in Europe in some form of a Norway or Finland type of country, its sense of place is a little bit vague and nondescript. So while the idea of having these elemental spirits pervasive through the land is a nice idea, the backbone for this mythology isn't really introduced that well and is non-existent from the start. Frozen is a film that infused some welcoming new life into certain classic Disney princess themes. We get to see Elsa embracing her power rather than running from it, letting go rather than keeping herself bottled. We get to see Anna learn a little something about emotional maturity and finding her destiny in places other than where her social station seems to dictate. And of course, we see that true love doesn't always mean something romantic. It's powerful stuff, and the sequel had to find a way to build on it. Fortunately for Frozen 2, while the plot doesn't always work in its favor, the thematic complexity does. The same themes from the first film, the many forms love takes, learning to embrace who you truly are present here, but so are deeper and darker things. The sequel explores the nature of legacy, the sins of the past, and the ways in which we can redeem each other through deliberate attempts to heal old divisions. The youngest viewers may not latch on right away, but the rest of us certainly grasp it, and it works. There are a lot of reasons why Frozen was such a massive hit when it arrived in 2013. It looks great, the songs are catchy, and of course, there's an adorable talking snowman that Disney will make into every conceivable toy, incarnation, and holiday inflatable from now until the end of time.
Hang in there, guys!
Those are my legs.
Ooh, hey, do me a favor, grab my butt. Oh, that feels better. My cute little reindeer.
Don't talk to him like that.
Those aren't the only working ingredients though. A big reason Frozen worked particularly with adults was the chemistry of the cast. Thankfully, 6 years of waiting did nothing to diminish the voice cast's tremendous rapport with one another on screen. Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Josh Gad, and Jonathan Groff can all still fire jokes off each other with incredible precision, whether they're diving into Anna and Kristoff's awkwardness or Olaf's curiosity. Even beyond that though, there's a certain emotional honesty at play in their performances, particularly between Bell and Menzel. It's nice to see the magic of the cast didn't fade at all in the intervening years. So what do you guys think? Is Elsa immortal, or is she just a person and we're reading too much into this? Or is there something even deeper going on that we don't know about, and hopefully that will be revealed to us in Frozen 3? We'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Until next time, take a look at this other recent clip by Director's Choice and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified with our latest videos.